Hello, I'm Zash, and welcome to episode 57 of my G-Senjou no Maou, or The Devil on G-String. Let's read. Joining me, as always, is my co-reader Faith. Last episode, the criminal did make his move, but it wasn't Maou. It was Hashimoto, a fellow student at their school. He had taken Mizuha captive, and the negotiations have begun. Will the director arrive on time? Will he be able to gather the ransom? Hopefully, the answer to these questions are yes, for Mizuha's sake. Also, what's Hashimoto's endgame? He's stuck in the school, surrounded by Yakuza. He has no chance of escaping. But we shall find out in this next episode. Please enjoy. The flashlight in the lab equipment storage room just turned off.
Yeah. Looks like Hashimoto-san has calmed down. He's such a handful. Well done, Yuki. Haru drinks. Yes, would cola do?
Usami suddenly transformed into Takeda's man Friday.
Make it a coffee with sugar. And the sports drink that Hashimoto-kun wanted. Money! Ah, wait. Make sure to buy a paper cup from the store. A paper cup? Yes. It's been shown that giving captors a bottled drink in a paper cup decreases the chances of the captor harming the hostages.
What do you mean, Takeda?
Haven't you heard of Stockholm Syndrome?
Sure, the hostage and the captors become friendly with one another at some point. Or something like that.
Right. A bond forms between people who are subjected to a prolonged tense situation together.
Yeah, so in this case, Hashimoto said Shiratori is thirsty. If we give him a drink and a paper cup...
Yes. Hashimoto-kun would give Mizuha a drink. Do you understand? It would induce a sense of solidarity.
I see. Of course, there's a chance that Hashimoto would just ignore Shiratori and drink it himself. But as long as the cup is sitting there, he'll be forced to be reminded of her. Takeda nodded.
Stockholming usually helps along negotiations. If the criminal cares about the hostage is released sooner. Alright, I'll dash over to the store.
Takeda handed Usami some money and ushered her off to the nearest store.
Well, Chief Negotiator Kosuke-kun, is it alright to give the criminal a sports drink?
Sure. I can't think of any reason why not.
I thought you'd say that.
But have you seriously never had a boyfriend, Takeda?
Oh, are you interested in me?
Is it true?
One mustn't lie during negotiations. Lying would break the mutual trust built up between the captor and the negotiator.
Mutual trust. You gave the same service to Saijo. Is sympathizing with the culprit an important technique?
If a negotiator is too bullheaded in his dealings with the criminal, he'll fail nearly 80% of the time. On the other hand, if you establish some sort of cooperative give-and-take relationship in which you seek some form of compensation in exchange for fulfilling their demands, that figure turns around into an 80% success rate.
Is that so? Takeda smiled as if she could tell I was impressed.
It's not like I've been specially trained by the FBI. Just think about it. Everyday life is nothing but one negotiation after another.
If you want to put it like that. I nod.
You wake up in the morning, and someone tells you to be back at a certain time. School teachers ask you assorted questions, which you are expected to answer.
You don't run into a life or death situation like this often, but I guess I can grant you that each day is a series of choices and negotiations.
Well, but you take business partners out to lunch regularly, don't you?
Yeah. Food and entertainment tend to lubricate contracts and transactions.
And there we have it. Point is, everyone is a negotiator. I just happened to hold an interest in criminals and began to actually study up on it.
You're an odd woman, Tokita.
Yep. And that's why I can't get a boyfriend.
She derides herself, then sends her sharp gaze to the lab equipment storage room as silence envelops the school grounds. Megalipses. Ellipses. I'm back! What happened? The director got here just a minute ago. He wore flashy clothes, but gave off the aura of your average unreliable middle-aged buffoon. Tokita explained the situation to him, as sweat dripped down from his slick-backed hair onto his forehead and down his face. So who are the bunch surrounding the school? Acquaintances of mine. You! We met on New Year's. And yes, those are people from my father's organization. The director cradled his head and let out a long sigh. Tokita put on a discouraged look before continuing.
His sole demand is a sum of 5,550,000 yen. Can you prepare it?
That's a lot of money. Neither I nor Tokita missed the sly glimmer in his eyes.
I'll take that as a yes.
But the banks are closed. It's so late. The banks are definitely closed. But no idiot would go straight to the bank from an illegal deal. Where's the money?
When I went to your house to visit Mizuha, you confirmed you have a safe. The problem would be the 3 million above and beyond your embezzled 2.5 million. Will you be able to procure that full sum?
In the worst case, I could loan it to him. Alright, I'm sorry. To think it would come to this.
That isn't an answer. Will you be able to procure the full sum or not?
Yuki showed no mercy. Yes, of course. It's just 5 mil, right? He acts tough with his just 5 mil, but he doesn't seem to comprehend all that he's lost.
Thank you. I'll give Mizuha's captor the good news.
After a few rings, Hashimoto's cheerful voice beams from the telephone.
Has the director arrived?
Yes, without further ado. He says he can get the money, too.
Is that right? I was about to cut up your little sister. I expected you to spell some bullshit about banks being closed.
Relax. Your demand is as good as met.
You won't get a single yen until I know my daughter's safe. That Mizuha's safe. The director suddenly butted in.
I just let you hear her voice, didn't I? Want to hear it again? She's probably got one more good scream in her if you want it.
Stop it. Your objective is money, isn't it? Hurting Mizuha would be meaningless.
It's a joke, Tokita. Just shut that tired old man up, or the joke will have just gotten serious.
Tokita gave the director a short glance. He trembled and kept quiet.
Let's talk about getting my money out here.
Very well. If he goes home to get the money, it'll take at least 2 hours to get it here.
Have the fucker's wife deliver the money. That'll cut the time in half, right?
Should I ask if that would be possible?
Sure. While you're at it, get me a drink.
No problem. As shameless as it is to ask, would you mind releasing Miss Noriko in exchange?
A drink and a woman's life don't exactly match up, but why not? Miss Noriko never really had anything to do with this anyway.
Great. I'll have Ichi bring you the drink.
Ichi's face was shot with anxiety.
No, you bring them, Tokita.
Me?
I think I've taken a liking to you. Know why?
Because I don't exactly get along with the director either, right?
Hashimoto laughed and grunted in the affirmative.
In other words, we're comrades. My sweet, lovely child.
Ellipses.
At that moment, Usami's pen, which had been taking notes so furiously, inexplicably stopped.
Thanks for choosing me. It makes me feel special.
Tokita was completely calm.
I'll go get that drink now.
Megalipses. Ellipses. Tokita disappeared into the darkness of the school building, holding a plastic bottle in one hand. Man, this is unreal. I mean, I can't even believe it. I know what you mean. You think he'll really let Miss Noriko go? Hopefully. Though, if you ask me, it seems like the negotiation's gone pretty well so far. What do you think, Usami?
I agree. I wouldn't expect any less from Yuki, though. I'm glad she's here, seeing as I haven't been much help.
Yeah, neither have I. She said negotiations should be done as a team, but Tokida's doing all the work.
Well, I'm not kidding when I say Yuki's really reliable. She's my only friend.
She's a little strange, too. Is that why you two get along so well?
I stayed over at her house once, and since then we've lived as master and servant.
Ellipses.
I wake her up in the morning, I submit to her forcible fondling at noon, and I'm forced to massage her shoulders at night.
You did well to stay friends for so long.
I just can't seem to win against her. There were times where I would be like, alright, this is the last straw. But whenever I confronted her about it, I always seemed to come out of it thinking, whatever, I guess it's cool.
Well, some people just have that effect on others.
But whenever I run into money trouble, she'd treat me to ramen. And she bought me a stuffed penguin once. A plushie, I mean. Such dear old memories.
Don't talk like she's dead.
I once bought her a book called Torture Methods from Around the World for her birthday.
No. Dear God, don't give something like that to a woman like her.
She was so happy. Old times.
Usami looked up at the school building with distant eyes. Zai-kun. The director called out to me in a reserved voice. How's it going? Will you be able to get the money here? Yeah, my wife said she'll call a taxi and be here right away. He hung his head and continued. Do you think this will settle everything? At the moment, it doesn't look like this affair will end up going public, if that's what you're asking. That would be fantastic. He let out a heavy sigh. My own daughter being involved in something as brutal as this. If I knew it was going to turn out this way... I could easily predict the rest of his sentence. I would have just given myself up. The director covered his exhausted face with his sweaty palms. Ellipses. Did my own father lament like this while thinking about his son? This is bad. I'm getting dizzy. I'll try not to think about anything. You okay, Kyosuke? It's just, you have that weird look in your eyes that you get sometimes.
Tell me about it.
What? Look, if you're worried about something, maybe you should try talking to me about it. I've got lots of life experience, so I've probably got some good advice for you.
Ellipses.
Not you too, Usami.
I was just thinking that I'd like to help out if I can.
Help out, huh?
What?
Nothing. Anyway, it looks like Tokita is back. Ah, you're right! And Noriko is with her! Tokita walks across the schoolyard. Miss Noriko supported on her shoulders.
I'm back. Yuki, did he do anything to you? No, he was quite the gentleman.
Are you hurt? Miss Noriko collapsed on the spot. She was probably too scared to even stand.
Sorry. I got the gist of what was going on from Tokita-san. I wasn't in there. Unfortunately, she has no idea. She was locked up in the pitch-black medical supply room, trembling in fear. Every now and then I could hear Hashimoto-kun shouts from the next room. It just doesn't feel real.
Don't worry, I'm here with you now. Eiichi suddenly took her hand in his. Tokita, what were things like in the lab storage room?
From what I could see through the door's glass pane, Mizuho was in handcuffs. Hashimoto had a knife in his hand and told me to leave the drink in the corridor. I followed his instructions and put the drink down, then went to retrieve Miss Noriko.
Why did Hashimoto keep Miss Noriko and Shiratori in different rooms?
I was just wondering that myself. Keeping them together would be the logical choice. It'd be easier to manage.
Usami kept her gaze on Miss Noriko as she interjected herself.
Because he had no ropes or handcuffs for her. I see. Hashimoto-kun didn't plan on taking Miss Noriko hostage, so he was unprepared.
I guess he was wary of a surprise attack from his unbound hostage during his negotiation with Tokita. The director suddenly became apologetically reverent towards Miss Noriko. Do you think we could keep this quiet?
Quiet? Keep this atrocity quiet, Director Shiratori? We should call the police right this instant.
Quite the natural opinion. The man said he'd kill my daughter if we call the police. As a parent, I can't let that happen. Whether that's the truth, or he's trying to protect the school, the director was desperately trying to convince Miss Noriko.
Our top priority at the moment should be the remaining hostages' safety. The culprit will release Mizuha if we could just meet his demands.
Miss Noriko hung her head, perplexed. Perhaps she was overpowered by Tokita's confidence.
Well, I guess you did manage to save me, Tokita-san. And it's not like I'm trying to be ungrateful here, but...
Miss Noriko, I think we should avoid calling the police for now. I don't know what this Sonoyama man I have scattered about would say if the police showed up all of a sudden. The worst case scenario would be a confrontation between the two parties. We'd undoubtedly have more than a simple negotiation on our hands if that came to pass. Who are you kids? Tokita smiled.
The hero and her entourage.
Megalipses. Ellipses. Still, Tokita, before the money gets here, there's something I need to confirm. Are you really going to comply with the terrorist demands and hand over the money?
What do you think, Chief?
She smiled in challenge. I answered hesitantly. Ensuring Shiratori's safety is our #1 priority. We have no choice but to comply.
I completely agree.
However, we can't be absolutely certain that he'll release the hostage after he gets the money.
Judging by my analysis, he's the type to keep his word as long as he's able to achieve his goal.
Well, and I suppose killing Shiratori wouldn't do him any good.
Right. The one he really wants to kill is...
She shot the director a quick glance. Yeah. As I watched Tokita and the director, I hurried my decision. What do you think, Usami? Usami was stroking her chin with the back of her hand, seemingly pondering something.
How does Hashimoto-san plan to escape after taking the money?
Escape? You think he's going to try to make him break for it?
Of course. He said something about having a future. As it stands, he should be worried about seeing tomorrow.
This represents a huge oversight on our part.
He took hostages and barricaded himself in the school. On top of that, he's stealing more than 5 million yen. Do you honestly think he's just going to waltz into class tomorrow and go to basketball practice afterwards? He put a knife to his homeroom teacher's throat. Haru's right, you know. Once Mizuha is released, we'll have no reason to obey his orders. We should be able to retrieve the ransom somehow. The only real reason he chose to go up against us instead of the police is probably because he figured we would be easier to deal with. Of course, exacting revenge on Yuki may have also played a small factor. But as I've said, think back to the beginning of this incident. Hashimoto-san was wearing a ski mask, remember?
Yeah, it completely covered his face. I didn't even realize it was Hashimoto until he spoke.
The ski mask implies he originally intended to hide his identity. He would have likely used a voice distorter once negotiations started, but we got here too quickly. In the end, he decided to give up and reveal himself.
You might be right about that.
Hashimoto-san had planned on taking the money without leaking his identity. If that was indeed the case, then it wouldn't be strange for him to come to school tomorrow, to sit 15 feet away from the girl he had hostage the night before.
I was convinced. But now that his identity is out, he's finished. He has nothing left to do but run.
So the question remains, how does he plan on getting away with the school encircled? My experience would dictate he'll demand a prepared car, deciding to keep Mizuha hostage for a time. Ellipses.
Usami's expression grows dark and grim for a moment.
There's something strange here.
Ellipses.
Call it a hunch.
I teased her with a cocked smile. Let me guess. You think your Maou is back, and he had a hand in this? Usami stared straight into me.
Yes, most definitely.
Megalipses. Ellipses. It's been 3 hours since this whole affair started. Despite having direct orders from one of their superiors, the Sonoyama men are on their last nerves. They can't handle the lethargy much longer, smoking the time away as they sit on the grass. I watched as the taxi driver eyed the school suspiciously for a moment, then drove away. Apparently, Hashimoto's ransom has arrived.
Sorry to keep you waiting, Hashimoto-kun.
Tokita immediately resumed the negotiations.
We have a suitcase containing 5 million yen.
A suitcase? Way to put it in a blatantly obvious bag.
If he's inconvenienced by the bag being conspicuous, then he really must be planning on making a run for it.
Well, whatever. Bring it to me.
Of course. Shall I deliver it personally again?
Yeah, I can't trust those other guys.
Then, when I bring you the money, will you release Mizuha?
Hashimoto laughed deeply.
Don't be hasty, Tokita.
Why wait? Doesn't this conclude our business?
Yeah, you paired the dough like a good girl, so I wish I could help you out. But if I release Shiratori, how am I going to get away?
As I thought.
Prep a car for me. Ask that rich snot in his eye or something. Should be no problem, right?
I won't know until I ask around.
A car? I guess I could probably get a company car from the Azai Corporation offices.
Listen up. You better get a damn car. I'm not going to roll over and compromise on this. You understand as well as I do how serious this is, Tokita. If you were the criminal here, what would you do?
Yes, you're absolutely right. I would prepare an escape route if possible.
But as long as he's in the city, he won't be able to escape from the Sonoyama group.
I'm glad we're on the same page now. First, bring the money up here. Once I see my wheels waiting, I'll call you again.
The call ended, and Tokita shrugged her shoulders.
You heard the man, Kyosuke-kun.
Alright, I'll prepare a car.
That was an awfully quick decision.
He has no idea about the extent to which my father controls his city. Even if he manages to get away in the car, we'll nab him soon enough. It's no different than the situation with Saijo.
Very well. I'll go deliver the money to him then.
Alright. Don't do anything rash, like attack Hashimoto or something.
I won't. I don't know what I'd do if anything ever happened to Mizuha.
Tokita smiled as she walked once more towards the darkness of the school, suitcase in hand. So, I guess this is the big finale, huh? Aichi muttered as he huddled with Miss Noriko. Man, this is pretty much the same thing that happened to Tsubaki's kid brother. I had no idea these kinds of terrible crimes even existed, let alone were so common. Yeah. I casually looked over at Usami.
Ellipses.
Things have been bizarrely chaotic recently, ever since she moved here. Megalipses. Ellipses. 30 minutes later, Hashimoto's getaway car arrived. A few Sonoyama cars were also on standby, just off campus. How were things on the inside, Tokita?
They seem to be drinking together in a friendly manner. It bodes well, I'd say.
Yeah, they both hate the director. Did Hashimoto say anything to you?
No. I was promptly asked to leave.
Well, everything's all set now. All that remains is to wait for Hashimoto's call.
Azai-san, is the school's barricade really flawless?
What do you mean?
Nothing. It's just that the fence around the school is pretty short. Once you get out of the building, he could just hop it and be done with us, couldn't he?
We're covering the first floor windows, and the main entrance, the staff entrance, any possible exit to the building has been practically sealed. Isn't that good enough?
Yeah, should be. The men look worn out, so I was just a little worried.
And what about you? You must be tired too. Hashimoto's made it pretty clear that he intends to march right out, get in the car, and drive off.
Oh, right. What was I thinking?
She scratched her head in embarrassment. What about you, Tokita? How are you holding up? I mean, you of all people must be tired as hell.
It's sweet of you to worry. Tell you what, you can massage my shoulders if you want.
You've got enough energy to crack jokes, so I'm sure you'll be fine. Still, she's a little quiet. She must be worn out from the long negotiations. She'll be able to rest soon, though. The upcoming chase scene will be left to my expertise.
So, Kyosuke-kun, is there a special girl out there somewhere you can't wait to get back to?
What's this about? Tokita laughs.
I wonder if this is Stockholm too. Working closely with you for so long has given me a sense of unification with you.
I know what you mean, but I'll pass.
Pity.
That kind of joke is unlike Tokita.
I'm a Zai-san special girl.
Kill yourself.
My. You're already practically a married couple.
Tokita smirked with her arms crossed.
Hashimoto sure is taking his sweet time to call us back.
Yeah, he should be able to see the car from up there. Heck, he should be able to even hear it.
Let's try to stay patient. Something might have come up.
If we get antsy and jump the gun, it might tick him off.
But we can't wait forever, can we?
Alright, we'll wait 10 more minutes. Yet 10 minutes later, there had still been no contact from Hashimoto.
He's not picking up.
Tokita tried calling twice, but in vain.
What should we do?
This is upsetting. What happened? Tokita, what's your take on the situation?
Honestly, I have no idea.
Did he suddenly change his mind?
I wish I could deny that with full confidence. Still, I've done everything in my power up to this point, so the chances are slim.
Then why isn't he calling us? We met each and every one of his demands.
Oopsies.
Tokita pierced me with her stern eyes. Oh, I'm sorry. There's no way to know that. But the question remains, what do we do now?
We have to go in and see what's going on.
Yeah, I think that's the best option. Which of us will go, though? I could go, if y'all want. An unlikely volunteer raised his unexpected hand. You know how it is, man. I don't think I'll sleep right until I knock Hashimoto a good one. No one's going to knock him a good one, Aichi. Shiratori's life is on the line here. But... Then Tokita stepped in.
Very well. Aichi-kun and I will go together. Yuki?
I guess it would be justified to send someone who's on good terms with Hashimoto, seeing as you'd be the least likely to agitate him.
In any case, you should stay here, Kyosuke-kun. Between your men and your position as chief negotiator, we need you at the school gate.
Sure.
Haru, insist Kyosuke-kun. You've become accustomed to that role by now, correct? I guess.
Tell me about it. I keep getting caught up in Usami's trouble for some reason.
That's right, so if anything happens, the least you can do is help him out, Haru.
I'll protect you, Yuki-sama.
That's reassuring.
Tokita must have realized that Aichi's presence may cause Hashimoto to drop his guard. Aichi's reputation for idiocy will have preceded him after all. In any case, he'll be less threatening to Hashimoto than Usami or I.
Well then, let's go, Aichi.
Sir, yes, sir! Looking somewhat nervous, the two disappeared into the school building. What happened up there?
The worst possibility is that Mizuha has already been killed.
I thought of that too. They could have gotten into a scuffle and killed each other. It'd certainly explain his missing phone call at least.
Yuki must have prepared herself for something like that before going into the school just now.
She's brave, that friend of yours.
She's really cool, too. Almost too cool.
And immediately after Usami finished her sentence, the phone rang with a clamor. Of course, it wasn't Tokida's phone. It was mine. What's going on? What's wrong, Tokita?
I don't believe it.
Tokida's typical calm voice was shaking. What happened?
Calm down and listen.
All right.
He's not here.
What? Tokita steadied her breathing, settled herself, and said,
Mizuho. Hashimoto-kun. They aren't here.
That's not Pa. Then Tokita yelled.
It happened, goddammit. The two of them just up and disappeared.
Ellipses. Megallipses. After hearing Tokita's report, Usami and I headed straight for the lab storage room.
We need to calm down, Azai-san.
I know.
People don't just disappear.
Yeah, Tokita just panicked out of worry for her sister. We ran down the corridor and threw open the door to the lab equipment storage room. And it truly was empty.
Sorry for getting riled up just now.
Don't be. It came as a shock to me as well. That bastard Hashimoto! Where the hell did he run off to? Aichi paces up and down the room, unable to keep his cool. I give the room a quick search. The plastic bottle Hashimoto supposedly drank from and a single paper cup lay on top of the desk. The flashlight Hashimoto apparently used lay alongside them.
Azai-san, there are handcuffs on the floor.
The black handcuffs that robbed Mizuha of her freedom were lying plain as day across the linoleum floor.
Removing her bonds could only mean...
Tokita bit her lip in regret. Did her despair get the best of her? She couldn't bring herself to say those next few words. Mean what, Tokita?
He was merely buying time.
Tokita seemed to reinforce her falling spirit.
I believe that he asked us to prepare a vehicle in order to knock us off the right track. We let our guards down, thinking that he would leave through the front gate in his getaway car, and he was able to run off secretly in the meantime.
That's ridiculous! He's still in the building! I shouted. The Sonoyama men outside heeded my call. I need to have them perform a thorough search of the school. The exits were completely sealed. There's no way he could have made it beyond these walls. Really? Are you sure there weren't some escape route somewhere? An escape route? Like a secret exit or something. This isn't the time for A chill suddenly dashed up my spine. Wait. My face must have twisted beyond belief right now. Now that I think about it, wasn't the school being expanded?
Yes.
Of course. That was the spark that kindled this whole fiasco. Are the renovations done yet? Nah, but they say it's almost there. What have they been working on? It's still taped off, so I don't really know. But I hear there's some new hallway on the first floor. That hallway has windows, doesn't it? Aichi nodded. Damn it! I'm so sorry. This was entirely my fault.
No one would expect you to know something like that. That's right. Only the school staff and faculty would have known that. And apparently Mizuha and Aichi.
Hashimoto must have asked Shiratori about the secret exit. Well, all we can do is give chase now. I reached for the door. Leave the rest to me. Go home, everyone. He got away on foot sometime around 30 minutes ago. If we comb through the area closely, we should be able to catch him. Wait, I'm coming too! I left Aichi behind as his fleet footsteps echoed through the dark corridor. Megallipses. Ellipses.
Bearing an anguished expression, Tokita Yuki searched the darkness just beyond the window of the lab equipment storage room. We've been had, Haru. She sighs to the girl behind her. Haru responds with a sigh of her own. Well, it Certainly didn't go the way we wanted it to. This is all my fault. Is this about the fact that Mizuha's handcuffs were removed? Yes. You know what that means, don't you? Haru's intellect shined through in her immediate response. It means Mizuha is cooperating with Hashimoto-san. There's no way he'd try to make a run for it, dragging along an unbound, unruly hostage. She would just be a burden, after all. Why would she go along with him? Yuki shook her head. Stockholm Syndrome. I see. Stockholming is usually a positive thing, so negotiators often try to build the foundations for it if they can. But something went wrong this time. It may sound like I'm making excuses, but Stockholming doesn't usually happen in such a short time. In the past, it's typically taken hundreds of hours, half a year. Extreme periods of time on that order of magnitude. So you're saying this was an exception to the rule? Mizuha doesn't exactly think very highly of her father either. It's only natural for her to sympathize with Hashimoto-kun when they share viewpoints and a similar background. I overlooked that. The girl standing behind her had no consolation for Yuki. It just goes to show that the human heart can't be read with a manual. Yuki sighed once more. I guess I still need more experience. The very next instant, Haru's voice pierces her back. No, this is just how your plan was supposed to go down. Yuki's body freezes. Isn't that right, Yuki? That's right, Haru, Yuki mocked somewhere within herself. That mockery quickly showed itself on her visage. If only you weren't here. Ellipses. Ellipses.
I hear my lovely child is having a bit of fun tonight. I wonder how it's going. Well, I found her plan to be quite the humorous parlor trick. I seriously doubt it will work on Usami. Accomplices can really foul things up. Should I have given her that advice? It shouldn't matter. Children grow whether or not their parents are there to help them along.
What are you saying, Haru? Yuki directed a faint smile at the girl behind her. You make it sound like I'm the mastermind behind these events. You are the mastermind, Haru pronounced sternly. You set this up from the very beginning, Yuki. How could you say that, Haru? I thought we were best friends. Yuki put on innocent airs, but her heart knew better. No slight could blind Haru to her best friend's strange behavior. Calm down, Haru. Didn't we just decide that Hashimoto-kun ran off with Mizuha through a window in the new hallway? No. How then do you explain his sudden disappearance? He could have taken any one of the windows or doors on the first floor. It's impossible to tell which. Huh? How? Kyosuke's men had the building surrounded. He got away long before those men arrived. Yuki all but resigned. Nevertheless, she wanted to amuse herself with the conversation. Hashimoto-san snuck into the staff room and assaulted Miss Noriko. After hearing her scream, we rushed into the building to see what was wrong. Hashimoto then coerced us to leave the building and lock Miss Noriko in a medical supply room next door to the lab equipment room. That's what happened before I showed up, right? Continue. Hashimoto-san then supposedly set up shop in the lab equipment room. But that never happened. He ran off immediately. Hold it right there. Are you saying Hashimoto-kun was never in there at all? Yes. He made it appear that he was looking down at us while negotiating, but he was actually taking the call from another location. Another location, huh? Yuki shrugged in false surprise. Wait, what was the flashlight we saw flickering? Hashimoto-san left his flashlight here before leaving the school. But you saw it yourself, didn't you? The light was flickering. I've never known a flashlight to turn on and off by itself. There are plenty of possible solutions, but the simplest one is to leave a flashlight with a dying battery. That would make it flicker a bit before turning off completely. Correct. The fact that the blinds were left open was irreconcilable from the onset, in my opinion. The blinds, huh? No one would leave the blinds open in their base of operations. It would entirely defeat the purpose. Indeed, that is somewhat strange. Is that really something to be suspicious over? Haru continued in a deep voice. When you arrived at the scene, Yuki, you waved your hand in front of the window here. Right. It took him a moment to respond. Naturally, he wasn't on the other side of the window. He was likely told to call at a specified time. That was a failure on Yuki's part. If only Haru hadn't suggested she wave at the window. It seems you just won't rest until you've proven that I'm Hashimoto-kun's accomplice. Vice versa, unfortunately. What about Miss Noriko? You were keeping records, so surely you remember? Yes. After Miss Noriko was released, she testified that she heard Hashimoto-kun shouting. And how do you explain that? Haru didn't falter. I'd wager that, as we speak, you're carrying an IC recorder or the like in your pocket. Yuki found this amusing. Haru called it spot on. She did indeed have an IC recorder with Hashimoto's voice sample saved on it. He had left it here before taking his leave. Surely you don't believe people are so easily fooled as to assume a recorded voice in the next room was a real person. That's precisely the reason why you let her rest after being released rather than putting her to the full interrogation. Goodness gracious, Haru is so incredibly fun. She thrust everything that Yuki had recognized as suspicious into her face. I thought that was quite odd. Why would the talkative Yuki just ignore the only person who knew what happened inside the school? It happens sometimes. Maybe I was tired. There are only a few words recorded on the device, am I right? Just enough to deceive a morbidly terrified teacher. Yuki felt like throwing in the towel. Alright. Are you going to strip search me now? There's no need. I have more evidence. I'd love to hear it. This paper cup. The paper cup we gave him? What about it? A portion of the bottle's contents are gone, and the paper cup is a little wet. So Hashimoto-kun poured a drink into the cup and Mizuha drank it, right? What's suspicious about that? There's no sign that a mouth ever came in contact with this. Very good, Haru. The drink was poured out, wasn't it? That's why Yuki chose the lab equipment storage room. You can only pull this off if the two of you were in cahoots. I can't imagine a scenario where the two of you aren't accomplices, and yet you bring in the drinks and the money and fake what happened in this room. Yuki decided it was time to surrender. I would never expect any less, Haru. Haru's gaze assaulted Yuki's senses. Is that a confession? It was a mistake to appoint you secondary negotiator. That's why you hesitated when I suggested we work as a team, wasn't it? Yuki nods to the girl behind her. That moment saw her defeat decided. It's the cliché, so I'll ask. What first tipped you off to the possibility of my involvement? Yuki, tell me, don't raise your voice. Haru answered, heavy with sadness. When you were talking about basketball, as I thought. Hashimoto-san said, look at that skating arena over there. I froze solid when he said that. This window doesn't look towards the arena. Yuki had been standing near that window in order to stymie Haru from that realization, but it had been in vain. At first glance, it may seem like Hashimoto was Yuki's downfall. However, Yuki held some responsibility in this failure as well. He was originally a simple young man, someone whose extremes merely amounted to chalk on blackboards. Petty was perhaps the most fitting word. To make such a person out to be a calm, motivated hostage-taker with a goal was quite difficult. When he showed his true colors by asking about her sex life, she felt the pressing desire to hit him. So, barring any more tricks, Mizuha is being held in a place from which the arena is clearly visible, right? Yes, and Hashimoto-kun was there alongside her. I drugged her earlier and took her there. How could you? Well, for some reason she still held loyalty towards her good-for-nothing father. Can you believe that? What a softie. Your original intent was to invite Misaha into this little scheme, wasn't it? Unfortunately, my negotiations failed. A certain famous negotiator once said that negotiating with one's own family is the most unsurmountable of tasks. After declaring so, Yuki turned around and returned Haru's sharpened glare. So, Yuki, is the money in this room or the next room over? If I return it, will you forgive all this? Haru let the silence speak for her. Her pained expression wounded Yuki's heart. Nevertheless, Yuki calmly continued. You wouldn't, would you? You're the hero, after all. Haru shook her head. Was it revenge you were after, Yuki? Oh, don't act so shocked. It's dirty money, for crying out loud. And you intend to dirty yourself as well for this dirty money? The police allowed the director to escape justice. Who will punish his evil if they won't? Anyone but you. God, Yuki, anyone but you. You're naive, Haru. In this day and age, the good are seen as nothing but sweet imbeciles. Don't you see that? I don't live according to the times. I live based solely on my own judgment. The words of Maou from the mouth of the hero. Such is to be expected. Step aside, Haru. Yuki jerked her chin to sign Haru away from the door. Where do you plan to run to? Now that I've made an enemy out of Kyosuke-kun, I'll probably have to skip town. Listen, Yuki, Haru said as she placed herself in Yuki's path, arms wide open. You're a smart girl, so I'll assume that extraordinary circumstances forced you into action. However, you're still in the wrong. Thanks, Haru. I feel terrible for causing so much trouble to so many people. Miss Noriko especially. And Kyosuke-kun, of course. He's off hunting Hashimoto as we speak. Then, Yuki interrupted Haru's protest. It's too late. I've already sold my soul to the devil. Haru's eyes gorged in despair. In that same instant, Yuki shoved her with both hands.